Alrighty, so topic today is depression as a stepmom. So I feel like I look really happy as I'm doing this vlog and see my mound of laundry that is always never ending behind me. So I think that there's a lot of times that there is depression whenever you're a stepmom because, or a step parent in general, because it's just not what you thought it was going to be. And I know for me, I personally had no idea how to be a mom to stepchildren. I really didn't even know how to be a wife. I was married before, but my husband was in the military. So he was gone, like, all the time. Like, I remember one time I didn't see him for 9 months. So I just kind of got used to doing my own thing. If I wanted to go travel, I traveled. And me and my daughter would just go, and we pretty much just lived our own life. And he was kind of just, yeah, it was crazy. So when I married my husband, then I was like, I don't know how to clean a house. Like, I lived with his family and I just had my room. So I was like, I don't know how to do that. And I didn't know how to cook because his mom and his grandma cooked. So I didn't really cook. I could make eggs and spaghetti and chicken pot pie. That's about it. And actually, after we got married, Freddie was like, do you know how to make anything besides like chicken? And like, do you just know how to make anything else? Like, kind of, maybe. So I was super unorganized. And I'm not saying I'm a super organized person now, because I'm not. But I'm a little bit more organized. Because I run a business out of my home, it's helped me to keep my house clean, because I was like the worst housewife ever. I didn't know how to keep a house clean, especially with a whole bunch of kids. Like, there's 5 kids running around. I felt like even if we would clean, within an hour it looked like a hurricane had came through. And of course, people always show up at like the worst times ever. Like, whenever, you're like, I had a pastor one time show up, and like, it was like terrible. The house is a wreck. I'm like, well, welcome to our chaos. And I think there's also, of course, there's a lot of like comparisons. Like, you're trying to figure out where you fit in the family. Sometimes you can feel like an outsider as a step parent, like not sure, do the kids like me? They liked me when we were dating, but I didn't really enforce rules when we were dating. My husband and I did not live together before we got married. So it was like, okay, we get married and now we all live together and we're one happy family, right? So, but for me personally, and maybe, you're feeling the same way, I felt like I was drowning in a lot of ways. I felt like I kept dropping the ball. I kept trying to figure out where was my place in this family. I had decided to stay home with the kids. Just trying to figure out using our bank account. Like, there's just so many adjustments, I think, to being married. And then when you marry and you already have a whole bunch of children, especially ones that are not biologically yours, it can be a whole new, a big chunk to chew off, and like, I remember feeling so depressed in the beginning, like, of just like, this was not what I imagined. That my family knew. I told them, I told one of them, like, really drowning right now. And so she offered to come and to take like some of the kids. Like, she'd be like, okay, I'm going to take one hard one and one easy one. Because, there's always, you don't want to classify your kids that way, but there's usually one like harder one and one that's just kind of easy. It just kind of blends in, maybe the middle child. And then, so she would like rotate, trying to take a few for me so that I could have a little bit of a break. And then I had to start doing like a routine where my husband had a really weird schedule. He went in at he left the house like 2 a.m. and he was home by like 11:30, which some people might be like, that's so great. Like, he was home at 11:30 to help you with the kids. No, he was exhausted because when you're newlywed, well, a lot of times you're just not sleeping as it is because you're up to other things. And then he doesn't really get much sleep, so he's coming home and he's exhausted. So I was trying to always figure out, what do I do? Like, the house is always trashed. Like, the kids just trash the house, like, constantly. Like, I felt like I was coming in and having to retrain, like a 3-year-old. You know, like, if you make a mess, like, you pick up your mess. If you finish a box of something, like, you crush the box and, like, you put it in recycle. If you drop a whole bunch of things, like, pick that up. So it was this constant, battle of just trying to figure out, like,
Stay there.
what to do. So my 4-year-old is here chasing the cat. I would show y'all her, but she's running around in just her little chonies. So, a lot of times at night, then I would just end up, when I had time, just going to sit down and just pray. Like, you need that. Like, you just need that time alone, just to have time with the Lord, especially when you're going through, like, a season of the unknown. And the Israelites, they were in the desert for 40 years. And sometimes we're in seasons where it just seems really dry and trying to figure it all out. And there's a verse that says, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. Like, just realizing he does care about you. The Bible tells us that, like, he does care about all of our needs and all of our wants. And I like to pray really specifically for things, like whether it was like a child, whatever was going through, or just very specifically. And I always think it's neat to watch God answer in very specific ways to the way that, I've prayed. And, I also think with the depression, a lot of times, like, and I know in each family it's different, but for us, the kids would not listen to me when we got married. And I feel like I'm a pretty, like, happy person. Like, I like to be happy and perky, and I felt like I became a very mean version of myself in the beginning of our marriage and in the beginning of becoming a stepmom, because nobody would listen. And so I had to learn, and everybody's different, like what works for them and what doesn't. And I remember watching this show with the Duggards, and she has like a zillion kids, 18 and counting or something, and she said, like, she used to be yelling all the time at the kids, and then she started deciding that instead of yelling, she was going to whisper when she was really mad. And so I was like, I'm going to try that. And then, don't be wrong, sometimes I still get like Medea. I've heard people say, I don't yell at my stepchildren. I'm like, well, then you must not live with them full time, because when you live with them full time and you're dealing with them day in and day out and teaching them, and I mean, I feel like, I'm their mom. Like, I'm going to get mad at them. I'm going to yell sometimes. So don't put too much shame on yourself if you've yelled at your stepkids, because I'm guilty. So my one friend tells me, I think you're nicer to your stepkids than I am to my own kids, but I guess I feel like there's a little bit more boundaries, like, like maybe I'd like to spank them, but I can't, or just different things like that. So I think I've covered pretty much everything, but just know that you're not alone. If you're feeling like, this is not what you thought it would be, it's going to get better. I hope. No, it should get better, and it's a season. In the beginning, it can be really hard, and if you're feeling depressed, there is hope in the Lord, and he cares for you. And when we're feeling, empty, like, he can meet all of our needs. and be our best friend when we have nobody and we feel like nobody understands us. All right, thanks y'all. Send me any questions you have.